You're watching News Central now on News Central Television with me, Blessings Mosugu. The top stories at this hour. Army Chief urges Nigerians to support military efforts in fighting insecurity. Labour gives state governments December 1st deadline for implementation of new minimum wage. Voters in Mauritius anxiously await results after tight parliamentary polls. We've got the details in a moment. News Central now, this hour begins with security matters, where the Acting Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has urged Nigerians to support the military's fight against insecurity during his first operational visit to Sokoto headquarters of the 8th Division. Oluyede highlighted the importance of community collaboration and appealed for timely information sharing, especially amid the rise of new threats, including the terror group Lukarawa. His visit included discussions with senior officers and assessment of troop readiness in the Tangaza local government area. He also encouraged soldiers to maintain their efforts in securing Nigeria and emphasized that while security challenges are inevitable, the nation's response to them is crucial for stability and peace. Now, a tragic attack has struck Kebbi State as the armed group known as the Lukarawa terror group reportedly killed 15 persons and rustled over 100 cattle in Mera, Oji local government area. The assault occurred as residents were preparing for Jumat prayers, with the group exploiting this vulnerable movement. Now, local leader Alhaji Bashir Isa Mera, known as Yariman Mera, reported that community members pursued the attackers into the bush, resulting in a gunfire exchange. Now, 2 of the attackers were killed, but 15 residents tragically lost their lives. Governor Nasir Idris expressed deep concern over the incident and ordered military reinforcements to contain the situation. The deputy governor and emir of Argungu visited the affected area, assuring residents of strengthened security measures to prevent further attacks by the Lukarawa group. Earlier on, Dennis Amatri, a retired assistant director, Department of State Services, shared his thoughts on this development. Now, the Arewa Consultative Forum has raised urgent alarms about a new terrorist group known as Lukarawa, which has become active in Kebbi and Sokoto State. The group is believed to have formed in Niger Republic amidst recent turmoil there, with Nigerians Defense Headquarters confirming its presence in the northwest region. The ACF has called for immediate, decisive action to prevent Lukarawa from establishing a foothold, warning against a delayed response as experienced with previous insurgencies. Now, on Friday, the group launched an attack on Meritown in Kebbi State, killing 15 persons and stealing over 100 cattle. The ACF urged security agencies to strengthen intelligence efforts and collaborate with community leaders in counter-terrorism measures. They also stressed the need to revitalize cross-border task forces to secure the region effectively. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Air Force has confirmed that several terrorists were killed in separate air operations in Kebbi and Zamfara State. The Air Force also reported the destruction of strongholds belonging to notorious bandit warlords. In a statement on Sunday, NAF spokesperson Olushola Akimboyiwa said the hideout of terrorist kingpin Ado Alero was among those targeted, adding that many of Alero's fighters were killed during the operations. Akimboyiwa added that the strikes were launched in response to verified intelligence on increased terrorist activity in the region. Now to more stories. We understand that the estimated cost of landing premium motor spirit has dropped significantly by 20.34%, reaching 971.57 naira per litre over the past 3 months. Now, this decrease in landing costs, which reflects the expenses associated with importing and distributing petrol, suggests some relief from global market fluctuations and supply chain pressures. However, despite this reduction, retail petrol prices in Nigeria have surged by 443 naira or 71.79%, rising from 617 naira per litre on the 1st of August 2024 to 1,060 naira per litre by 8th of November 2024. Now, data from the Major Energy Marketers Association shows that in August, oil marketers imported petrol at 1,219 naira per litre, with Brent crude at $80.72 per barrel and an exchange rate of 1,611 naira to the dollar, selling it at 617 naira per litre. Now to Labour matters, the Nigeria Labour Congress has set a December 1st, 2024 deadline for state government to implement the new 70,000 naira minimum wage, warning of indefinite strikes for non-compliance. The NLC accuses fuel marketers of inflating petrol prices and contends that current policies are impoverishing Nigerians, with rising costs and hunger impacting citizens. In a communique issued on Sunday following its National Executive Council meeting, the NLC called for a review of what it calls anti-people policies, noting worsening economic hardship across the country. In July 2024, President Bola Tinubu approved the wage increase, but the implementation has been inconsistent across states, leaving many workers still waiting for the adjustment. And now to discuss this, we're joined by a labor law expert, Irioluwa Oguntuashe. Thank you so much, Irioluwa, for joining us. Irioluwa, if you can hear me, I would like to ask, how will the implementation of the 70,000 naira minimum wage impact the finances of Nigerian state, particularly those with limited revenue streams? Irioluwa, can you confirm you can hear me, please? All right, while we try to establish connection with Irioluwa, we go to more stories where, in an open letter, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has called on President Bola Tinubu to restrain Nigeria's 36 governors and the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, from undermining judicial independence by gifting cars and houses to judges. Now, SERAP argues that such gifts compromise judicial impartiality and threaten the constitutional balance of powers. The letter, signed by SERAP Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, urges Tinubu to engage Attorney General Lateef Fagbemi to challenge these practices in court. Now, SERAP stresses the need for improved judicial funding to ensure independence and avoid undue executive influence. The organization warns of potential legal action if the government does not address this issue within 7 days, underscoring the importance of safeguarding judicial integrity and maintaining public confidence in the rule of law. You're still live with us on the news, and when we come back, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps deploys 6,000 officers to ensure hitch-free Ondo governorship polls. Stay with us. Thank you so much for staying with us. We're still live on the news. We're talking about the labor laws, and to discuss this, we're joined by a labor law expert, Irioluwa Oguntuashe. Irioluwa, thank you once again for joining us. How will the implementation of the 70,000 naira minimum wage impact the finances of Nigerian state, especially those with limited revenue streams?
Of course, it's going to impact considerably. Now, we need to understand the fact that this implementation, this increase was agreed on sometimes in July, and prior to this time, 30,000 has been paid. And even the previous amount that has been paid as minimum wage, some states have been complaining that they're even finding it very difficult to pay. You know, let alone this increase in the new one now being 70,000 naira. So it's going to really impact negatively in no mean measure, especially for the states that they've been earning low as far as the internal generated even tried to even improve the allocation that is being given to each of the states. So I think the state should also come out clean if they are stating that the amount they are collecting or the amount they are generating, will not be enough for them to service the particular new increase. Now, for some of the states, especially I think KB, Plateau, and one other state like that, the governors have complained bitterly that they are finding it difficult to pay on small that out to pay the amount able to pay above 70,000. So I think it's going to impact in no mean measure on the amount the state will be paying now as the new minimum wage. So for every governor that is finding it difficult to pay, I think they need to liaise peacefully with the Nigerian Labour Congress, the branches in their respective states, so that they will be able to find, a solution to this seeming impasse.
All right. Also, given the current economic challenges and economic climate, how will the wage increase contribute to inflationary pressures?
Well, when we talk of inflation, even without the wage increase, there's already inflation. We don't have increase in the minimum wage when prices of food are soared astronomically. There's no increase in the minimum wage when prices of electricity soared astronomically, and also the prices in the basic amenities that every citizen of Nigeria should have. So I don't think the increase in the minimum wage would add more to the inflation, given the current rate of the inflation that we have currently in Nigeria now. Now, what I think is that as far as the citizen is concerned, there should be a means, or there should be a way in which the government will try as much as possible to reduce the impact on the citizen. And one of the ways in which this impact can be reduced, in addition to also trying to reduce what is causing this astronomical increase in the basic amenities, is also to show this minimum wage increase a little. Now, let's not forget that by the provision of the Minimum Wage Act, the minimum wage should be increased, I think, by the provision of Section 4 every 5 years. And the last time the minimum wage was increased was in 2019, and this is 2024. So I don't think this is going to cause any inflation whatsoever.
Okay, let's talk about the likelihood of a widespread industrial action if the states fail to comply with the NLC's deadline. How would this impact the economic activity and productivity in Nigeria generally?
Of course, we all know the implication of strike. We know that strike can be, by the provision of the Trade Dispute Act, strike can be defined as cessation of work as a result of trade dispute. So I'm referring to Section 48 of the Trade Dispute Act now. So by implication, of course, any country that goes on strike is going to impact, and we're going to lose. But for me personally, and I've said it during one of my interviews on this TV station before, that I've never been an advocate of strike. I've never been an advocate of strike. I would rather prefer that the Nigerian Labour Congress, they may picket, and they should picket peacefully, or they may involve in collective bargaining in order to liaison, or with a view to liaison with the governors or with the federal government. But of course, strike is going to impact negatively. And this is not the right thing for Nigerians to do now, given even the low economic downturn that every citizen and even the government is experiencing now. So I don't think strike is the right way to go. And even for the Nigerian Labour Congress, they should also see this. And most importantly, I think the Nigerian Labour Congress should also be creative in the way they approach any dispute they have with the federal government. Now coming out to say that they are going on strike every now and then, I don't think that's what the citizens want to hear. I think the citizens to which they are representing, they want a situation whereby every challenge that they have can be creatively solved. I don't think strike is one of the ways.
Okay, I'm also curious to know, how is the federal government likely to respond to the NLC's demands and the potential for industrial action? Would it intervene to ensure compliance by state governments, or would it offer additional support to states facing financial constraints?
Okay, while I'm not in the cabinet of the federal government, I can only speculate, and my speculation would be that my speculation is going to be that for the federal government, what they usually do is very simple. They will allow NLC to ramble, to shout. They will allow them to go on strike, and still they are going to come back to the table. But my view has always been, within this period that NLC will go on strike, whether it's 1 day, whether it's 2 days, irrespective of how many days they're going to go on strike, I imagine how much will be lost. I imagine how much will be the negative impact this is also going to have on the economy and on the citizen of Nigeria that is even struggling to survive. So, so for the federal government, the pathway has always been the same, and the pathway is that most likely they will try and convince NLC not to go on strike, and if they insist on going on strike, they will go on strike, and this thing will still be solved nevertheless. But one thing that we even need to know is the reason the NLC is going on strike. The federal government is not only involved in this. The issue of minimum wage is in the exclusive list, and to that extent, it covers both the federal government and the state government. And the issue that is happening now, most of the state governments are finding it difficult to pay. So why can't the NLC, in lieu of going on strike, instruct their branches in the respective state that are finding it difficult to pay to liaise with them, to have a meeting with them, a peaceful meeting, so that possibly a solution can be found, on all these issues, instead of them insisting on going on strike because of the non-implementation of the minimum wage.
All right, thank you so much, labor law expert Irioluwa Oguntuashe, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, now, Governor Simeola Fubara has announced plans to present the 2025 budget to the Rivers State House of Assembly, led by Speaker Victor Oko-Jumbo. He emphasized the positive relationship between the executive and legislative branches, as seen in the smooth screening of nominees and the prompt passage of executive bills. Fubara made the statement during the Speaker's inauguration of a tertiary scholarship and empowerment program at Akiama and Aganya communities in Bonny local government area. The event also included the commissioning of 2 new community town halls. Let's now tell you that with less than 48 hours until the handover in Edo State, Governor-elect Monday Okpebholo has alleged that outgoing Governor Godwin Obaseki has been absent from Benin City since Friday. Through his media aide, God's Power in Negbe, Okpebholo claims that Obaseki left the city in an unmarked bus after reportedly clearing out the government house. Okpebholo dismissed Obaseki's assertion that he was not invited to Tuesday's inauguration, calling it a distraction tactic. He also accused the outgoing governor of avoiding him since the election, thereby obstructing a smooth transition. Okpebholo accused Obaseki of attempting to undermine the election results, which he expects will soon be affirmed by the tribunal. He pledged to reveal any efforts by Obaseki to influence the outcome of the case. 4 Nigerians have recently achieved notable electoral victories in the United States and Australia. Dr. Oye Owelewa was re-elected as the shadow representative for Washington, D.C. Chiaka Bari won a seat in Australia's Jindera district under the Liberal Party. Segun Adeyino retailed his role as state representative for Georgia's District 110, and Yemi Mobolade made history as the first black mayor of Colorado Springs. In a congratulatory message, NICOM Chair Abike Dabiri commended their achievements and commitment to public service in their adopted countries. She encouraged them to uphold their resilience and dedication and offered prayers for their continued success in their roles. Each brings a unique background in law, IT, healthcare, and business, which makes valuable contributions to their communities internationally. Let's now talk you through the election matters. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has announced the deployment of 6,000 officers to ensure security across Ondo State ahead of the November 16, 2024 governorship election. Now, the Commandant General of the NSCDC, Dr. Hakemed Aldi, disclosed this in a press release signed by the Corps spokesperson, Babale Afolabi, on Sunday. Now, Aldi emphasized the Corps' commitment to providing comprehensive security before, during, and after the poll. He explained that personnel would be drawn from Ondo and neighboring states, including Ekiti, Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Lagos, Edo, and Delta. And now to the power sector. The Transmission Company of Nigeria has reported another incident of vandalism, this time targeting 330 kV Lokoja Gwagwalada transmission line. This follows a previous attack on the 330 kV Shiroro Kaduna lines, which left parts of Nigeria without power. TCN said the recent incident occurred in the early hours of November 9, with transmission towers T306, T307 and T308 vandalized, leading to a power disruption. Now, engineers attempted to restore the line, but efforts failed, prompting TCN to send patrol teams who confirmed the damage. Now, TCN expressed serious concerns about the growing frequency of such attacks, which significantly impact the nation's already fragile power infrastructure. And now, in the digital age, the internet is key to business, education, and communication. But across Nigeria, internet access is still limited in many areas, creating what's called the digital divide. Now, as Nigeria's tech ecosystem continues to grow, can the country thrive without widespread access to the internet? News Central's Chidima Ona explores this question in the report.
Nigeria is one of the largest economies in Africa and has a growing tech ecosystem, but internet access remains a challenge for many people.
With the world fully in a digital age, poor access to the internet can make a huge difference. The question then is, how well can the country's tech industry thrive without widespread internet access?
It's oxygen. Like internet, like tech without internet is basically not possible because it's oxygen. Without it, it can't breathe. It needs the internet to thrive.
So imagine you're working in a tech space now. You definitely need maybe your Wi-Fi, your router and stuff like that. So yes, internet is important 100%.
Everything that we do now relies heavily on internet. I don't need anything you want to do. From even teachers, nowadays we do online classes, bankers. Basically, even as lawyers, we need internet constantly so we can do research and stuff like that. Personally, I work remotely, so I know how important internet is for every facet of the work that we do, so it is very important.
For tech entrepreneurs and founders, the limitations of stable internet connections are endless. In an interview with a tech entrepreneur, he discloses some challenges they face in innovating, collaborating with international clients, or scaling a business, highlighting the poor internet infrastructure in the country.
If you're starting up a business that people have to use the internet, a tech platform, that will kind of affect your ability, your chances of attracting foreign investors, because you will not have many people using that product. The market size will not be addressed. And what investors always look out for is the number of customers, the number of markets that is there to address.
While Nigerians from all walks of life agree that internet access is critical to the growth of the country's tech ecosystem, many emphasize the need for better infrastructure and affordable, reliable access. Whether the digital divide can be bridged will ultimately depend on the efforts of both the government and private sector to bring the internet to more Nigerians. In Lagos for News Central, I am Chidima Ona.
Now, the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has set up a 7-man committee to interface with residents of the demolished Ruga Shanty located at the Wuye district of Abuja. The minister, while condemning attempts aimed at blackmailing government over the demolition exercise, says that it was carried out in an effort to rid the area of hoodlums and miscreants and to improve the security of the capital. Amadine Uyi reports.
The day commenced with a security meeting with heads of security agencies in the federal capital. The minister of the FCT then led the team to the Ruga settlement, which was recently demolished by the FCT Development Control. From there, he engaged with the displaced residents as he gave the spokesperson an opportunity to air the views of the community.
We are not dragging anything with the government saying we get land or we have anything, but we are pleading. Please underneath honorable minister. We are pleading. This environment we are seeing is like a mini Nigeria.
The FCT minister informed the community that the demolition exercise was prompted by attempts to rid the area of hoodlums and miscreants.
I see as insecurity everywhere. We don't know who the who. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See train station the Pizza. Yes, sir. How is the same way we people on some of them from number 3? They have nobody know. If not, I'll see you and I know you. The other person remember what you could do.
He also added that the FCT administration will continue to tackle insecurity within the capital and ensure that citizens are safe.
No government will say it will just sit down like that. See where they get a threat of insecurity everywhere. If you talk of inflation, I agree. But you can't have insecurity again. You don't say things don't come back. So the one who will fit tackle, no good tackle them now. We don't say we will solve the other problem. Insecurity is a big problem for Nigeria. Yes. And we will not go fit.
The minister then set up a 7-man committee to interface with the displaced residents so as to find a lasting solution. He, however, warned that no temporary structure should be erected on the land. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uhi.
Now, the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, on Saturday recognized the Chief Justice of the Federation, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, for her achievements and contributions to the Nigerian judiciary. Governor Sanwo-Olu had hosted a special dinner at the Lagos House Marina to honor the newly appointed Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun. During the dinner, former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, praised Justice Kekereekun, describing her as a fine lady and a jurist to the core. The event brought together prominent figures from the legal community, government officials, and others to celebrate the new CJN.
We know that your tenure as Chief Justice will be marked by a sharp intellect, deep of insight, and unwavering commitment to the spirit of the law for which you built a long life reputation. At a time when Nigeria faces many challenges, your leadership of the judiciary is a stirring first and a comforting presence, one that will bring renewed strength to the pursuit of justice, equity, and fairness.
There is total unanimity amongst us in Nigeria that the appointment of our new Amazon is well deserved. It's an appointment that was defined by merit, not by any extraneous matter, consideration. And I know that whoever will become a judge, not even to talk of Chief Justice of Nigeria, must be able to show integrity, learning, fairness, firmness, and courage. My noble Lord, the Honorable, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, these are some of the commodities that I know that you parade in more than sufficient quantities.
Since 1914, we have had 23 Chief Justices. My Lord Kekereekun is the 23rd. And she's the second female Chief Justice ever of these 23. There are wonderful women in Nigeria, but this is the second wonderful female judicial officer that we can be proud of. In fact, it's in our time now that we have several women judicial officers. We call them our men in skirt.
I am reminded of the enduring spirit of our great state and its profound influence in my life and career. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to His Excellency Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for hosting this reception and for recognizing the journey I have been privileged to take in the service of our nation's judiciary. It is a call to lead, to inspire, and to champion the integrity of our judiciary at a time when public trust in institutions is more critical than ever. I am committed to upholding the high standards of our judiciary.
Coming up on the news, voters in Mauritius anxiously await results after tight parliamentary poll. We'll bring you the details after the break. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, Mauritanians await the outcome of a tightly contested election that will determine their nation's leadership for the next 5 years. Both Prime Minister Pravind Jugnauth and his challenger, former Prime Minister Navin Ramgoolam, have claimed victory after Sunday's legislative poll, while urging calm amid minor incidents reported at polling stations. A voter turnout was robust at approximately 80%, with ballot counting underway on Monday and final results anticipated by the end of the day. This election follows a phone tapping scandal that raised questions about Mauritius' democratic integrity after a social media ban was reversed due to public pressure. Jugnauth's military socialist movement faces strong competition from Ramgoolam's Alliance of Change. Today, South Africa honors a true national treasure, artistic legend and icon of African heritage, Esther Malangu, celebrating her 89th birthday. Born in 1935 in Mpumalanga, Esther's journey in art began with traditional mural painting in her community, which blossomed into a renowned career marked by collaborations with top global brands and institutions. Her unique blend of technology with traditional artistry has captivated audiences worldwide, solidifying her role as a cultural ambassador for South Africa. News Central's Bongani Ziba is at Malangu's homestead in Mpumalanga with more on this special celebration.
Today I'm in the regalia of the Ndebele people. I'm in Mpumalanga, Ndebele, at Dr. Esther's residence, where the celebrations for her 89th birthday will be taking place. But this year they decided that they wanted to be a little bit private. But we as News Central, we are here and we've been invited as one of the guests, and it's so beautiful as you can see. But let me take you and our viewers inside the studio so that we can see some of her work that she has done over the years. As you can see, just to show you the studio inside here, just you can see some of the beautiful work that Dr. Esther Mahlangu has been doing over the years. You can see some of the beautiful murals, beautiful colors, beautiful things that she has done over the years. Just to ask my camera person just to show you around this place. As you can see that her birthday is a remarkable birthday, a day to honor just not an icon but a figure in the African arts, Dr. Esther Mahlangu. Now we are at her studio, as you can see, just to speak to one of her daughters, just to speak about her remarkable journey and where she is and the kind of legacy that she wants to leave behind. Good afternoon, and thank you for inviting us as News Central. Dr. Esther Mahlangu, a renowned artist, what legacy is she leaving behind?
Thank you so much, Bongani, for having me. This is so very amazing because of Dr. Esther Mahlangu. She is the one who like his work to spread all over the world, more especially even here where she lives. We can see there are some children that Dr. Esther Mahlangu, she teach them to paint, and I think this is, I don't know what can I experience, but this is so beautiful.
We can see beautiful art here that she has done over the years. But talking to her as a granddaughter, how did she start?
She started, you can't believe it when if I can explain this, because she said she started at the age of 11 when her mother and her grandmother, when they were busy painting, as a children, she just started to look when they go to the lunch. My grandmother, when she explained about this, she came where they were doing their work and started to paint. Even she didn't paint properly, but because of this, she said she was like this. That is why she always, when they said, no, you don't doing this good nice, but what she's doing, she always repeat to do until today.
Blessings. I'll ask my camera person just to show our viewers this gallery. Dr. Esther Mahlangu rather began her journey here in the rural of Mpumalanga, where she started painting with her mother, like we have heard with the grandmother, granddaughter rather, telling us one of her most iconic projects was that one of painting the BMW, transforming it into a luxury canvas car. This was collaborated by also other artists, but it's a beautiful journey that she has shown all over the world. She has traveled so many countries that are even countless. As you can see, we are in her studio. But let me come back to you later on. It's now time for us to go and have that birthday cake.
All right, thank you so much, Bongani Ziziba. And of course, we'll be seeing how the celebrations will unfold. All right, still on the news, thousands sick as Pakistani smog reach record levels. We'll bring you the details after the break. Now to stories outside the African continent. Yemen's Houthi rebels have claimed responsibility for an attack on central Israel on Monday, following an Israeli military report that it intercepted a missile launched from Yemen. The Iran-backed Houthis asserted that they had conducted a military operation targeting the Nahal Sorek military base southeast of Jaffa, describing the strike as precise and reporting that it resulted in a fire.
في القوات المسلحة اليمنية عملية عسكرية نوعية استهدفت قاعدة ناحال سوريك العسكرية جنوب شرق يافا في فلسطين المحتلة، وكانت الإصابة دقيقة بفضل الله، ما أدى إلى نشوب حريق في محيط الموقع المستهدف. وقد نفذت العملية بصاروخ باليستي فرط صوتي فلسطين 2 وحقق هدفه بفضل الله. إن القوات المسلحة اليمنية وردا على جرائم العدو الصهيوني في غزة ولبنان سوف تواصل عملياتها العسكرية، وإن هذه العمليات لن تتوقف إلا بوقف العدوان ورفع الحصار عن قطاع.
A hazardous mix of crop burning, high emissions and cold weather has shrouded Lahore and Punjab province in dense, acrid smog, escalating a worsening environmental crisis. In recent years, this issue has intensified, and now pollution levels in Lahore, often ranked among the world's most polluted cities, have reached unprecedented highs. The International Air Quality Index considered values above 300 hazardous, yet Pakistan has frequently exceeded 1,000, marking a severe public health emergency. The World Health Organization warns that this extreme air pollution heightens the risk of strokes, heart disease, lung cancer, and other respiratory illnesses. Now to business. Nigeria's state debt surged to 11.47 trillion naira by June 2024, a 14.57% rise from 10.01 trillion naira at the end of 2023, driven by increased external debt and the naira's devaluation. Now, according to the Debt Management Office, external debt for state and federal capital territory increased from $4.61 billion to $4.89 billion, a 6.14% hike, while the naira's dropped from 899.39 naira versus a dollar in December 2023 to 1,470.19 naira to $1 in June 2024, caused the naira valuation of foreign debt to soar 73.46%. Now, domestic debt, however, declined by 27.12% from 5.86 trillion naira to 4.27 trillion naira, although a recent 200 billion naira uptick suggests state debt remains on an upward trend. And to sports now, 10 players have arrived at Benin Republic camp in Abidjan ahead of the clash with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. The Cheetahs opened camp for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying matchday 5 encounter on Sunday. According to the Benin Football Federation, 8 more players are expected in camp today. Jean Roy's side, who occupies second position in Group D with 6 points from 4 games, will host the Super Eagles in Abidjan on Thursday. Still in sports, Saudi giants Etihad Jeddah are set to terminate the contract of Italian defender Luis Felipe. Now, Felipe joined the Tigers in September 2023 from Real Betis for a reported fee of £22 million, but struggled consistently with injuries, making just 28 appearances. This season, Felipe started Etihad's opening game against Al Khaloud, but was forced off with a hamstring injury after 20 minutes, which kept him sidelined since then. Due to his long-term injury, Etihad lifted his name from the Saudi Pro League squad, which led the player's agent to request the termination of a contract. According to reports, the negotiations between Etihad's management and Luis Felipe are progressing toward a mutual agreement to terminate his contract through a financial settlement, as both parties are keen to part ways amicably without involving FIFA. Now, Etihad currently sits second in the Saudi Pro League with 27 points, just 1 point behind league leaders Al Hilal. We're still talking sports. Former Chelsea and Everton boss Frank Lampard is reportedly set to return to management. The ex-England and Chelsea midfielder is set to take charge of Coventry City in the coming days. According to reports, Sky Blues owner Doug King has earmarked Lampard as the man to take the vacant post. Wycombe Wanderers boss Matt Bloomfield is one of the other candidates, but is not the favourite. Now, King is said to prefer Lampard's experience, given he has also managed Derby County in the Championship. However, many fans and players were not happy at Coventry sacking long-serving boss Mark Robbins. And that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. Now, we told you that Army Chief urges Nigerians to support military efforts in fighting insecurity. We also mentioned Labour gives state governments December 1st deadline for implementation of new minimum wage. And finally, we said that voters in Mauritius anxiously await results after tight parliamentary polls. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, StarTimes, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Mosugu.